Welcome back to the channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Today, Jessie Hunt is back. I've read the 3 most recent ones that I can do when I'm doing it in a 3. When I look back on my old Jessie Hunt videos, I always those put when I was doing it in 4s, and it's just like, when did that change? I've just finished book 35. So we've got books 33, 34 and 35, which are The Perfect Show, The Perfect Poise and The Perfect Crowd. So much is happening. I've realised that I don't really comment much on the individual murder mysteries, but I will say that for somebody who kind of does the occasional pat on the back for looking at like the trail and trying to figure out where things go, ultimately Blake Pierce is very good at completely coming out of left field with things to the point where you don't actually suspect people. Like, you do have that thing of just like, oh, was it the husband, like was it the staff, was it this, blah 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 blah. But because of the way that the police procedural, I can't even say that word, because of the way the police work in these books, a lot of the time the killer isn't even on your radar, so it's hard to guess where it's going to go. So that's what I like about it, because it's just so focused on Jessie and her husband and now her sister and her best friend Kat. It's like a proper, almost like a TV comedy detective thing going on, because a lot of the time you are finding out with them what's going on. So there are the occasional ones where you get a bit of a moment from the murderer, but it's never explicitly stated who it is, and so you're learning with Jessie like who the murderer is, and that's what I love about these books, the fact that it really just fit into that comedy detective genre. So yeah, Perfect Show, Perfect Poise and The Perfect Crowd. We are seeing her sister Hannah now at college, or as I would call it, university, where she's going down kind of the psychological route. She's, after at first thinking that she was going to end up going to become a chef, she realises that she wants to know how people's minds work, so she's going down that route at college. And she's essentially at this point created her own student detective agency, where people are coming to her with things that they don't feel quite ready to go to campus police for. And so over the past few books you've seen her having her own little investigative network of sorts while she's at college. So it's just like, if once Jessie Hunt's over, I can see Blake Pierce going down the Hannah route and having a whole series just dedicated to Hannah and her own detective agency. But to be fair, we've seen her working with Kat through these books as well, who actually does have her own detective agency, and so it's been interesting just to see Hannah's evolvement as a character from the dark teenager to learning how to handle her emotions and trying to harbour her impulses, to the point where she's essentially found a healthy outlook on things and found a healthy way to get that out of her system. Whereas Jessie is now into suppressing things that she shouldn't be suppressing, and she needs to talk about, because I think it was in The Perfect Show, at the end of The Perfect Show, where she has, was it Show? That's the one where the parents are turning up dead, so it's not that one. It must have been the one after that. It must have been The Perfect Poise. Yeah. Elite world of ultra rich women are turning up dead in their mansions. So yeah, I think it was that one, because at the end, towards the end of that book, when they're apprehending the suspect, kind of in the act essentially, Jessie had a moment of wanting to kind of just bash the killer's head in. So Jessie is very aware that she's having some impulses that she can't control, but she's not quite ready to talk about it yet. And when she goes to her therapist knows that she's keeping quiet about something. She's like, when you're ready to talk, I'm here, but she's trying not to push it too much. It's getting to the point when I think Janice Lemon needs to push Jessie into opening up, because this could go horribly wrong if Jessie doesn't confront how she's feeling, because at the moment she's just going through a bit of a phase, I hope it's just a phase, of really wanting to, she's becoming very combative, is that the right word, where she really wants people to suffer for what they've done. And this is in the world of her being a profiler and helping to arrest baddies and killers, and she's at a point where she's just like, well, they've killed somebody, so why shouldn't I be able to kill them? And so she's working on herself in her mind, because this is something that she always thought she was trying to channel through becoming a profiler, because her father was a murderer. Sorry if you're jumping head start into this one. There's a full backstory. Each book does cover that backstory, so you don't really have to do them in order, but I feel like doing them in order does help, because we've gone through what feels like a lifetime, even though it's probably only a couple of years really across the 35 books, did I say? Where Jessie was born to a serial killer who killed her mother in front of her when she was about 7. I'm making up numbers now. When she was a kid. So Jessie ended up going into sort of foster care, and then her real father killed her foster parents, and yeah, and it all comes back to that essentially, because that was how she met her half-sister, Hannah, whose father was also the murderer. And so, because there's quite an age difference, because Hannah at this point, if she's at college, she's around like 18, 19, and Jessie is like mid-30s. So yeah, so you've just got Jessie trying to deal with the fact that she's reached a point where she feels like she can't suppress anything, like her channeling isn't working, and so she needs to address that within herself before she can talk to somebody. But at this point she really needs to talk to somebody. But then she's also dealing with the fact that now that she is married to hunky Ryan Hernandez, they are having that conversation about whether they want children. Ryan does want to have a child with Jessie. Jessie, because of all her trauma, doesn't really want to put herself through that. But through these last couple of books, she's started thinking about possibly adopting, which is a really, really nice storyline to see happening. The idea that Jessie, knowing the trauma that she's gone through as a child and growing up and everything that's happened to her in regards to multiple concussions, head injuries, and being mutilated in all different ways by serial killers, she's confronting the fact that maybe having a child of her own might not be the way for her. But the fact that she is now thinking about adoption is a really, really nice storyline to see, because it's come across that Jessie is not the kind of person to actually want to have a baby, and so the idea of her adopting somebody older really does fit into the character that Blake Pierce has created here. So yeah, you can tell I'm enjoying where this is going, especially seeing Hannah's own little detective agency happening. And then we're also seeing the aftermath of the whole Ash Pierce situation. That Ash Pierce, who has been after Jessie and her friends and her family for ages. It was book 32 that Ash tried to kill everybody, and in the process got stabbed by Hannah, I want to say. I think it was Hannah that stabbed her. Or was it? Oh no, she was shot. I'm getting all my stabbing shootings and everything mixed up in these. But yes, but then Ash Pierce ended up in a coma, and when she woke up, she had absolutely no memory of her life as a hired assassin. And through these past 3 books, we've been questioning whether Ash does have her memory at all, whether she's faking it and stuff. And through chapters with Ash and seeing Dr. Janice Lemon interview Ash as well, we're realising that we think there was amnesia involved, but something may have just triggered her memories back. And Ash is about to go on trial. So yeah, it says that the next one is book 36, but so let me open it. Book 36 is going to be released February 2025, so I've got a bit of a wait to do the next 3, but at the moment it says there's 41 books in this, so I'm wondering how far this is going to go. It's just scrolling through, looking at all the books that I already have. I am just on Amazon, just scrolling through at this point, because you can't actually purchase ebooks through the Amazon app, you have to do it on the web browser, I found out. So it says, The Perfect Crime, which is going to be the next one, book 36, is going to be released the 14th of Feb 2025. I wonder if it's going to be any Valentine's related, or it's just an happy accident. And then after that we've got The Perfect Prey, which is going to be released the 11th of April 25, and then The Perfect Betrayal, which will be released on the 19th of April 2025. It will be April next year by the time I get to read these, and I am wondering how many books there's going to be in this thing. But Blake, if you want to keep going, I'm entirely okay with that. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm still enjoying Jessie Hunt, seeing where this storyline's going, especially with her family, seeing what's happening with Hannah, and then just ultimately seeing what's going to happen with Ash Pierce now that she's going on trial. The end of this, of the book 35, is Ash in court, essentially, and you realising that she may not have amnesia anymore. Another thing I will let you know about these books is that Mark Haddonfield, a serial killer that's been getting through some of Jessie's previous saves, who was a student who she kind of gave the brush off, and he decided that this was something to kill over because he wanted to study under her and she left, and he's taken it as a personal attack. He's now in prison, and we're getting kind of a mirroring of the very, very beginning of the series when Jessie, in her early profile career, was visiting people at the offenders place. What was it? Oh, I can't remember the name of the place anymore, but basically where they keep all the hardened criminals, basically, is where Mark is being held. And so you've seen that in order to keep her friends and family safe, she's agreed with Mark to use him as kind of an inside help. Kind of think of like Silence of the Lambs, Clarice and Hannibal Lecter, like you getting help in profiling, that kind of thing. So in this, essentially, she's keeping him sweet. She's keeping him on side, saying, okay, if I agree to let you help on some of our cases, will you take your manifesto offline? Will you tell people that you don't want anybody to go after us anymore? And in return, I will bring cases to you occasionally. And because of your trial, because Mark's going on trial now as well, Jessie's just like, because of the trial, I might not be here as often as you may want me to, but I am going to bring you cases. And she has already taken him a case, but you are aware that Haddonfield is still dealing with hallucinations of Jessie. He's got his own version of Jessie in his head telling him things, and it doesn't seem like anybody on the inside has noticed, which you'd hope that it would be eventually figured out. But yeah, after we were first introduced to Jessie and she was talking to prolific serial killers and making friends with them, this just feels eerily similar to how we met Jessie. And I'm just there thinking, is this how it's going to end? Mirroring the beginning of us meeting Jessie. But obviously I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go, and if there is a plan of how to finish Jessie's storyline, or if this is, because obviously it can't go on forever, well, you never know. But yeah, definitely had an interesting relationship with the past 3 books, trying to figure out where it's going to go forwards and how much we've got left of Jessie's story. And yeah, she's pissed off quite a few people along the way, and it feels like that's not completely over. I'm not giving you everything. I've given you a lot, but I haven't given you everything. There's still a lot of stuff happening in the background where there are people that Jessie has pissed off who are still kind of not happy and may still be after her. So I'm going to wrap this up on that note. So we have got books 33, 34 and 35 are The Perfect Show, The Perfect Poise and The Perfect Crowd. Very, very entertaining. It's just like, if anybody wants to turn this into a TV series, it would totally work. Totally work. And to be honest, when I read about Jessie, it does give me Rosalian Isles, which, by the way, I am hoping to reread the Rosalian Isles book, starting with The Surgeon, because I remember the first time I read The Surgeon, I was just like, oh my god, this is so dark and I love it. Yeah, if you hadn't figured it out, I love a good murder mystery thriller. But weirdly, didn't watch horror movies for a very, very long time. And I've recently started to appreciate a good horror movie. I don't like purposely being scared. Like, the idea of going to, like, the dungeons and stuff just to be scared isn't my thing. But the thing is that I worked at the York Dungeons for like a month or so on a Halloween contract, and I love scaring people. I just don't like people scaring me. Yeah, so I'm the scarer, not the scary. But yeah, so I'll wrap this up. So thank you so much for watching. I will say, as I make this video, it might have gone up again by then, but I have just hit 280 subscribers. I know it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things, but for me, the fact that we are getting near the 300 mark is quite exciting. And then I did also get a little, but yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining my little corner of the internet. I have so much fun over here. But yeah, so stay safe. I love you all. Goodbye.